Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Matt Tebow with Stacked, back for the LCS Summer Split, and I'm joined by, once again, a friend of the show, LCS head coach of Real Geniuses, Peter Dunn. How are you doing right now, given the circumstances of us getting lost?
Sure. Hi, Matt. Thank you for having me. Unfortunately, we had two losses this weekend from winning positions. So, in a sense, I'm obviously super, super disappointed, but there's lots of positives at least to draw from this weekend so far.
Of course. And this is something I've been really interested in asking. This is going to be the first interview for us of the Summer Split, and what I wanted to ask you about is how you prepped through the summer. Before we got to the end of the spring, I asked you how you were going to prep for the summer, and it was a lot of, like, getting in, filming, working with Academy, moving on from there. How has your summer prep been, and do you think it's been, like, useful and effective even though you've lost the first two games?
So big thing about EG is that we had a really quite shaky early game last split, and we're bringing in a new AD carry in Danny who hadn't played much who hadn't played pro at all. He'd only been playing on amateur. So I insisted the players came in 1 week earlier. Obviously, including quarantine and things like this, that meant that pretty much there was both of our academy and amateur teams went late in proving grounds. So I took maybe 3 or 4 days off, and then we've been scrimming for 3 weeks from the start of the season, where I think most teams maybe scrim 2 weeks. Made me working a lot on early game, which I've been pretty happy with that early game, to be honest. You can't be too upset to be 3.5k gold up at 15 or 18, 3.5 gold and 2 drakes up against TSM is not something to sneeze at, and we were 7.5k gold up against the. So there we are. We know what our issues are. We have to go and fix them. Or tomorrow, preferably.
Yeah, for sure. Talk to me about Danny, actually. I want to know more about him. It seems like he plays a different kind of style than Definitely did. Definitely played a lot of Kai'Sa. He liked to wait, do a lot of cleanup and fights, whereas Danny wants to fight everything he sees. He's like a bulldog, right? He gets on that Jinx, like, in that last team fight. I remember he was, like, face-checking on that Udyr, like, daring him to kind of fight him. What does Danny bring, and how does he evolve the team from what we saw in the spring?
So I think the biggest issue we had with Spring is that we kind of really only had one way to play the game. Which is with Ignar roaming and playing into Jizuke. And often when you're playing into Jizuke with support roam, you need to play through top, right? So it's support into mid and to top. And I wanted so Jizuke. I know people will meme me about this a lot, but Jizuke is basically the best laning mid laner in LCS. I'm not saying he's the best mid laner because he has issues in his mid to late game, as we reducing the risk, reducing the variance when we have a lead. But in terms of pure laning phase, for like 15 minutes, he's the best. He's the best laner in the LCS. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to enable him to have more control in the early game, and so we needed to be able to play into both sides. And I think this is the big change from EG from last split into this split. We don't just want a weak side. We don't just want a weak side AD carry. We have the best weak side laner, top laner in the West, and therefore having the option to play into bot is really, really valuable, and that's what Danny gives us. Obviously, sometimes he pushes his lead a bit too much, but I've actually been pretty happy with his 2 performances today. He got a solo kill, got first blood against Dignitas, and Neo is one of the top AD carries in the league. So he outplayed him, and then in the 2v2 today against Lost and Sword Art, they had a 15, maybe 20 CS lead in late, which obviously I can't complain about. And his team fighting is good. He's not afraid to flash in. So I've been happy with his performance.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Danny is also one of the big roster changes we see. And I mean, his wasn't as like sudden and crazy as certain roster changes, like referencing like Sven's or Alphari's. Like, let's talk about those. I want to get someone who's like worked in the LCS on like that kind of mindset, right? What do these moves say about the LCS and these coaching staffs? Like, how do you think these came about? Particularly like Alphari's, just very sudden last night.
I mean, to be honest, I have no idea what's going on in the Alphari change, right? Like, it's obviously not performance related. There's something that I'm sure that they have internal data, or there's something behind the scenes. But like the Alphari change, was the many people's MVP candidate last split. Jat, and especially Cold. I don't know Jat. I mean, I know Jat reasonably well, but Cold I know especially well from Europe. These are not the kind of guys that make these kind of changes without proper thought process. And if it was maybe a change at the start of the season, then you can maybe say, okay, they were thinking about something with preseason, but it's clearly something which is not about preseason. And honestly, I don't feel qualified to comment on that because I just don't know what's going on behind the scenes at TL. But all I can say is, from what I know about Cold, he's not the kind of person to, like, you could disagree with Cold for sure, right? Like, he's the kind of guy who always is willing to talk about things, and he's somebody whose temperament, his ultimates, Kobe was my player for many, many years, spoke very, very highly about. So I can't really tell you much about the Team Liquid change. What I will say about the Cloud9 change is King was very, very good in the game. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna stand my contracts and Jun, who I thought were really, really good. But it could be argued that King was the best player in sub LCS. And records carry over; they have time. Right? Cloud9 have time to experiment, just like BD have time to experiment at the start of the split. And maybe this is just a simple case of seeing what else they have to offer. I mean, Sven's performance didn't look that bad last bit or proving grounds to merit a change. But come back after week 9, and not week 9. There's 9 weeks in the season. Come back after week 4, after they played more than 9 games of the season, and if Sven is still out, then maybe this is more than an experiment. But for the time being, until I see otherwise, I'm expecting King to be in for week 3 when we play Cloud9, and maybe Sven will be in for week 6 and week 9.
Yeah, they're sitting in pole position. They're just kind of chilling. They're just checking it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that compared to Europe, which just has a really crazy, jungle.
Damn, that's self-made.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think things have been that crazy. I would just say that King was really, really good, right? Like, it's not a case of, doesn't necessarily have to be a case of Sven playing bad. King was really good. But the Alvari thing, I have no idea.
Yeah. That's actually something I'm also interested in as well. Like, you spent a significant amount of your career in Europe. What's it like moving to the LCS, coaching a team, and then kind of gazing across the ocean, being like, I wonder what's going on over there, and just seeing it all up in flames? What's that like?
I mean, it's fun. I can talk about it, right? When I was in Europe, you couldn't talk about any of this stuff. There are times when I've seen roster moves, which I was really questioning, like the Excel move, right? Checo Lad is a person that I coached in the past, and he looked like a player who had a lot of potential. And Excel chose to go the safer path, and maybe, this suggests about Excel that it's rather than developing long term, they really want to push for playoffs this, right? Which is, it's fine, right? To me, I don't think the Nuke Duck change makes Excel a team that goes to Worlds over Rogue Mad Lions or Rogue Mad Lions or G2. But maybe they think that bringing this guy in will help them make playoffs, right? Which is important for Excel. So that kind of thing I can say, yeah, freely, and I couldn't say when I was in Europe. I will say I think Misfits won the off season by doing nothing. I think, but I can at least understand why they're going for these kind of things. And definitely there's a lot of things that I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Mad Lions defend their title. I'm excited to see Vitality. I'm excited to see what Nelson adds to G2 in Europe, and I can enjoy that as a fan without having to say, "Oh my God, who's this Nelson guy?" I've known who Nelson is for 6 years, because he was around the LPL. But I don't have to think, "Oh my God, who's Nelson?" I have to go and watch all of the games of all the teams he's been working with. What does he think about this one? No, it's like, oh, Nelson's on to GT. That's super interesting. I wonder what that adds to them. And that's maybe something that I've learned a lot more. I mean, I appreciate. It was really, really fun for me watching Mad Lions win LEC, the split. But the only thing I would say to that is, no, I'm just really, really happy for them. I mean, I have no regrets at all. To me, my run at Mad Lions was coming to an end. I'm really happy for them. What Mac has done, Humanoid finally being able to have the team around him that enables him to be that core carry. And it's obviously really exciting to see people like Embryo come out. So Europe is great. It's fun.
It certainly is, especially seeing Carzzy kind of come into his own in MSI as well. Sure. Yeah. Hopefully
we can see Danny like that after he's been playing for a year.
Maybe. We'll see.
It took Carzzy a year. I would say Danny is the Carzzy of North America, so So he's already started strongly. So let's see. I'm really excited to see how this guy progresses. His stage, having seen him on stage with a rookie, you always have to worry about being on stage. But with Danny, the adjustment has been instant. It's been fantastic.
That's really interesting. Okay, I'll keep that in mind definitely as the season goes on, and I think a lot of other people will as well. Once again, this is Matt Tebow with Stacked, and I'm joined by Peter Dunn, the head coach of Evil Geniuses. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. We're on Stacked LOL on everything, and if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the sub button. Helps us out a lot. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming, and we don't want you to miss it. Peter, thanks for your time, man, and good luck tomorrow with your other game.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.